Welcome back. We've been talking about real estate for some time during this pandemic. Interesting trends that we've been seeing. Let's bring in our friend Mike Eppel. Good morning to you.
Hello, how are you?
Doing well. We actually had this chat with Frank and Dave Petrangelo, who's in covering for Steph Henry this morning, talking about people, going outside to the suburbs, getting away from the city. So no surprise with the numbers that you're following this morning.
Yeah, November was another record breaker, though, Melanie, when we're looking at the GTA real estate market in its entirety. But then we're seeing these shifts of where people are buying and where they're selling, where they're moving to. And the 905 continues to be the hottest segment of the market, with sales up 30% for the detached property segment. You're going to find more detached homes in the suburbs. Sales up 30%, prices up 15% to an average $1.1 million. Overall, the detached segment in the 416 is around $1.4 million. So prices just keep going up here. We've got record low mortgage rates, so that is certainly a catalyst. And people are looking for space. Talked about the condo market, how rental rates have come down month over month. That's starting to show up now in the pricing structure for condos, where sales have been slowing down. There's more properties coming on the market for sale. And in the 416, condo prices are down 3% on a year-over-year comparable. So, I mean, that's pretty significant when you look at again, the trends, the patterns that have shaped up here in the real estate market this year.
Mm-hmm. But what's the inventory like? Is it out there? Is it available?
Well, condos, there's lots of them.
Yeah.
Anything in the semi-detached or detached segment, forget about it. I live out in Durham region. You see a property go up for sale, one day, 2 days later, gone, sold. Or even coming soon, listed, gone, sold. It's been just remarkable. And they're still building, and you see new construction that's sold out too, even though prices there have gone up.
It is wild, wild indeed.
Yeah.
And how about this? Is this wild? The idea of a Netflix tax. Let's explain this.
Okay, in the federal fiscal update that came out on Monday afternoon, the Trudeau government's talking about, well, how are we going to pay for all this spending right now, right? So they're looking at hitting the big digital companies, the Netflix, any of the downloads via app, in-app purchases, Apple, Google, all of these companies are potentially subject to HST, GST. Now, I checked my bills the other day. Some of them are already being taxed and some of them are not. So this would be more of an across the board kind of thing, but it would raise prices, right? So you're thinking, okay, are consumers cool with that? Well, Nanos Research did a poll and over 50% of Canadians said, yeah, it's probably time for the big digital the pot that, we've seen this disconnect in the media sector, certainly. Where has the money flowed when we're talking about advertising to Facebook and Google versus traditional media? All that sort of thing plays into this. So, it's going to be interesting to see. This idea has been put out there for a while. People were kind of resistant, but it seems like it's gaining a little bit more traction.
Let's talk about where people are spending their money, and apparently still at the big box stores, which isn't going to make the little guys happy, especially in lockdown zones like Toronto and Peel. But Costco, those numbers still through the roof.
Up 15% in November year over year, and that was actually one of their slower sales growth rates that we've seen recently for Costco. It's been remarkable to see how, the big box retailers, you see people lined up to go in, and I go in there and you kind of look around going, okay, who's got what? You're just watching for anybody who's coughing. That's just me because I'm paranoid. But at the same time, this has just been the trend for good or for bad. You look at the small business sector, this push to, reopen with limited capacity, at least just to help the small business retailers get through the holiday shopping season to some extent. But the big players are still continuing to see it and see strength, and no surprise, you see the crowds at those locations.
Yeah, and you heard the Premier say yesterday he's not really budging on that. He says he'd like to, but he's listening to the advice of his health team. But it's difficult. There are pressures everywhere to change that.
Look at the companies that were on that list of the open letter to the Premier. IKEA, Canadian Tire, HBC, Staples. These aren't small business operators telling the Premier to allow for more retail openings just to disperse the crowds more than anything else, because you're getting too many people conglomerating in whether it's the big box or just in the regions that are fully open. So there is pressure there, and that's a pretty important constituent when you're looking at from a lobby group standpoint.
Absolutely. All right,
Yeah.
Mike, we'll continue to watch that story and more. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
All right. Thank you.